Happy Monday, everyone. I'm Taylor from PhoneDog.com, and I'm back from CES, which was held in Las Vegas just last week. If there's one point that manufacturers wanted to drive home to us consumers, it's that 5-inch displays are in, and so is 1080p. It was originally announced with the J Butterfly by HTC in the Japan market, but now in the US market you can find a 1080p display on the DROID DNA, which is available on Verizon. Now, coming up, you will eventually see a 1080p display on the ZTE Grand S, the Huawei Ascend D2, Sony Xperia Z, and the Xperia ZL, also by Sony. So 1080p displays are here to stay. Now, over the past couple of months, I've made it very clear what my stance on 1080p displays are. They're gorgeous, and I'm a pixel junkie, so I love anything that's extremely crystal clear. But how necessary is it in a device that fits in your pocket? Personally, I don't think it's necessary, and it's wasteful. It draws more power and thus cuts down your battery life, and it requires more power or more work to push all the pixels from the processor. So you have a quad-core processor that can definitely handle it, but it's also drawing more power than any display would with a lower resolution. So until we get better battery life and more storage space also to account for the extra pixels for the graphics for games, videos, what have you, the 1080p display is kind of out of place and ahead of its time in the mobile market. So we're going to see a lot of new phones come with 1080p displays, and there's not really a lot of content that can take advantage of the extra pixels, and you don't have the battery life to accommodate for extra pixels that are going to draw more power. So I've kind of had a stance against 1080p displays so far. They're gorgeous, I love them, but they're also ahead of their time, and I'd love to see improvements in battery life and storage capacity, or at least a standard in storage capacity of either 32 or 64 gigabytes before we get to the 1080p display. So I asked myself why anybody would actually want a 1080p display in a smartphone. Now, Sharp has made an absolutely gorgeous display. The colors are brilliant, the contrast ratio is pretty nice, and it's absolutely crystal clear. You cannot see individual pixels. But in the same respect, why would anybody want this or need this? They don't have a reason to want a 1080p smartphone. So rather than make assumptions, I wanted to do a 30-day challenge. Aaron started the 30-day challenges when he was with the company, and they were extremely popular, and you guys have asked me to do a 30-day challenge on any device. It didn't seem like you cared, you just wanted me to do a 30-day challenge, period. So I thought to myself, why don't I do one on a phone with a 1080p display? I don't have my hands on a Grand S or a D2 or a Z or a ZL, but I do have an HTC DROID DNA that came in the mail last week. So I'm going to do a 30-day challenge on the DROID DNA starting today. On my Verizon line, I will pop my personal Verizon SIM card into this phone after this video, and I will use it for 30 days. Ever since the iPhone was originally released on Verizon, I've been using an iPhone on my personal Verizon line. I used the HTC Thunderbolt for a little while, but ever since then I haven't really switched away from the iPhone for any length of time. So the HTC DROID DNA will be the first time that I actually switch away from the iPhone for any length of time that actually counts. You know, I've switched to a BlackBerry for a day, and I switched to, I don't know, some Android phone probably 6 months ago that I forgot about. I don't know. But I haven't really spent any time away from the iPhone since it originally launched on Verizon. So I've become used to using specific apps that aren't found on Android. I can't get them from the Play Store. So that's really the challenge here, and that's half the challenge. The other challenge is battery life and storage space. I hoard things, I download a lot of movies. I've been watching a lot of movies on my phone lately. I play games on my phone, and I really blow through storage space really quickly. And battery. I absolutely kill phones when it comes to battery. My iPhone doesn't last a full day. The Galaxy Note 2, which I have on my AT&T line, it barely lasts a full day. So getting by on this thing might be a struggle. I've been using it over the weekend, not as my personal phone. I've just been setting it up and getting it ready for the challenge. So I've seen the battery life, and it hasn't been that great. I'm not excited about the battery life on this thing, and that's going to be most of the challenge, I think, is battery life. But I will be back each Monday giving you guys an update on the 30-day challenge, and then I'll wrap it up on the 4th Wednesday after this video. So stay tuned to PhoneDog for more. I'm going to go charge this thing up, put my personal SIM card in it, and get it set up all the way so I can use it for the next 30 days. Stay tuned to PhoneDog, and keep watching each Monday for my status on this 30-day challenge with the DROID DNA, and I'll see you next week.